Который вообще там, он мне все на позитиве, знаешь, все смешно, все вот такое просто.
Hello, everybody.
Ну, страшно, и тоже вот, ну, от стресса.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi there.
Good morning.
How's everybody doing? Hey, Kevin. Oh, so just as a reminder, as people are joining us this morning, that you're welcome to unmic yourself and speak up and join the conversation or ask questions or whatever you need. If you're not talking though, leave your mic muted so we don't hear, everybody yelling at their kids and that kind of thing. Okay. What's up, Jack? How you doing? Okay. We're just
Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you. How's it going?
Wonderful.
So we're just going to kick it off here. This is our informal weekly meetup, which is basically a conversation about all things real estate here in the Pacific Northwest. Actually, it doesn't really matter where you are because a lot of the topics we talk about can apply anywhere, frankly. And so we just happen to be located here in the Seattle area. So let's see who's on here today as we get started. Hey, Deborah, I see you. Jack, Jenny, Kevin, Marianna. Marianna, say hi. I don't know you. How are you? Say hi. Tell me about you. Can you hear me? Marianna Vallejo. Feel free to unmic yourself and say hi. Hey, Enrique.
Hello, hello. How are you doing?
Enrique here, guys. This is Enrique Jevons. If he is is here to answer all your property management questions, as well as he is a badass buy and hold investor himself. How many units do you have now?
So now it's 123.
123,
just myself, no partners.
But you're managing what, like 500?
Managing is now 660 something.
So there you go, guys. Have any questions about buy and holds or financing for your buy and holds, all that jazz? Enrique is definitely a guy that you want to tap into and get to know. He's also been on our podcast, sharing and throwing down everything we picked his brain on there. For those of you who don't know, I'll back it up for a second. My name is Julie Clark. How you doing? And I am the founder and co-founder, my partner Joe Bauer, who's on here with us today, of Seattle Investors Club, which is one of the local real estate investment clubs in town. We all hang out together. We all share information together. We all support each other. So this is just one venue that you can go to. Ours happens to be weekly, every Thursday at 11:30 a.m., where you can come and anything that you need, you can get an answer for here. Or we'll point you in the right direction or connect with you and send you to the right source for that information. So that has to do with regards to real estate investing, whether you're an investor and you flip or you do buy and holds or you like multifamily or commercial or anything goes, as well as for brokers. Broker investors, traditional brokers, we're all intertwined together. We even have Troy Fisher. He's a home inspector and owner of a huge mobile home park as well. So we have lots of people, lots of different disciplines and expertise. And whether you're new or you've been in the game for a while or you've been around a long time, we all have stuff to share with each other. And so this is the place to join the conversation each week where we don't have an agenda. We're going to talk about anything that comes up. Sometimes we'll be directing it to making sure you guys know about certain things going on, current information affecting real estate business in general. But other than that, I might pick on a few of you each week if you're new, just to let us know who you are. A lot of people join us every week. New people, we want to know what you are, what you're about, not because we're picking on you, but we just want to know what your discipline is. So I'm going to just go down the list real quick here I see some people that I may or may not know. And if I've met you before, I apologize. I drink too much. I probably forgot. So let's go with Melissa Gregory. Hey, Melissa, can you unmic yourself and just say hi?
Hello, my name is not Melissa Gregory. That's my fiance. My name is Dakota Russell.
Oh, there you are, right, Dakota.
Hey, sorry about
Well,
that.
you're an ugly version of a Melissa.
I am a terrible version of Melissa.
Right
agree.
on. Well, thanks for joining us. What's your involvement in real estate?
Well, thank you. Well, I've been trying to take the steps into real estate investing for a couple years now. And getting serious about it. This whole COVID thing has really given me the liberties and freedom to just do what I can to provide knowledge to myself and educate myself with this time spent, just sitting at home or whatever. Right now, we've got one rental, had it for about 10 years now. It's single family home. It's kind of the thing that is helping us see, we've been doing this for this long now, and now we see what it could be doing, times it by 100 or so on and so forth.
Right.
I'm a general contractor by trade.
Perfect.
That's not where I want to be the rest of my life, though. My back says no most of the time. It's been a while. I used to rodeo. I'm a cowboy in my past life, and things like that. Just educating.
So what part of real estate do you want to do more buy and holds or flips, or what is it that you're interested in?
I think kind of like the Burr method, kind of like buy and hold. I think if the numbers work out that way, if the numbers work out that it's in the perfect market with the cycle to flip it, then I see no problem with that. But ultimately, I think the straight and narrow for us would be like a buy and hold.
Well, let's talk about that today once we get down the line here a little bit further. And just as a reminder, as part of the Seattle Investors Club platform, which this is part of it, this weekly meetup, we do have a national podcast called The Nuts and Bolts of Real Estate Investing that has over 125 podcasts on topics of all these things. We have tapped on the shoulders of all our local experts for pretty much everything you can think of, that you will be able to find a topic that meets your needs of whatever you're trying to learn about, I'm sure. If you just go to the SeattleInvestorsClub.com website, you will see access to the podcast there. And one other little housekeeping item before we get started is if you have not joined our meetup.com page for Seattle Investors Club, please do so we have easy way to communicate with you, to let you know and remind you of when we have cool topics to discuss. Sometimes we might have special in-depth discussions and so forth like that. I usually try to throw those types of things on the podcast so everybody can access it at any time, but it's a great place to stay connected with us. So we will jump on Enrique to talk about the Burr topic here in a minute. Who else do we have here? Morgan.
Hey, nice to meet you.
What's going on?
Thanks, Julie. Hey, yeah, second SIC meeting I've been to, so appreciate you putting this on and really happy to be here. Entry-level investor here, looking to get involved with kind of a fourplex or a duplex and just looking to kind of fix and flip it and do a value play on that. Background on me, I'm a W-2 employee. I work for Amazon Web Services as a technical program manager. So just trying to move into the investor business owner quadrant at this point. So happy to be here and learn from everyone else on the call.
Yeah, I'll say to make it quick and easy for you, don't quit your day job, while you're jumping in this game. In fact, you want to protect your borrowing status as you jump into the buy hold game, as Enrique, we'll let Enrique pipe in. But, there's always this talk of, let me quit my job in real estate, as that's like the pinnacle of success if you're able to quit your job. And absolutely, financial freedom and financial independence is certainly the way to go. But I think we can, Enrique and some of our lender friends on the line can remind us how don't listen to all the hype. Like, just do you and educate yourself along the way, and don't be in a hurry to, like, I know people, if they hate their job, that's a whole different, that's a life question, but it is highly beneficial for everybody to keep their job if they are trying to pursue real estate. And even if you thought you wanted to flip, when you're getting started, you might screw it up, and you might screw it up big. And if you do that, you're going to potentially need to get out of whatever loan you got, which could be a short-term higher interest rate loan, and convert that to a conventional loan to sort of ride out the storm of whatever happened. Not to scare you, but it's just a reality, and you always have to have plan B and C in place. And if you have a job or a partner that has a job, that will make that much easier to recover from. Would you agree with that, Enrique?
Yeah, definitely. So I went from being a general manager of Marriott Hotel in the Bay Area. That was my job. And then I jumped ship to start my own property management company, purchasing rentals and such. It was a difficult jump. What I had to do initially was on the first is I pulled all my money together and purchased a 13-unit apartment building while I was still employed so I could get the loan. And then as soon as I got the loan, as soon as it closed, then I quit the job. But I had already months earlier already started with opening an LLC and started working towards my real estate license so that I could have all that. So that's my recommendation. Stay employed as long as you can. Start buying the properties, because certainly it's going to be much harder to get a loan once you become self-employed. They're going to want to see a good 2 years worth of history in that field, in that that you're not going to
You have
fail.
experience, yeah, that you have 2 years of experience.
Yeah.
And I'll layer on top of that, when we're in this volatile world that we live in these days, with politics and stock markets and lenders, the first ones to get the whacked is the self-employed when it comes to tightening of the lending requirements and criterias. So if you're self-employed, it's much harder to, get in line with what some of these conventional lenders will be willing to, their criteria and their parameters to lending to you. So, like Enrique said, there's timing challenges, there's making sure you've got your credit in line, there's enough experience under your belt. And what I always say to people who are getting started in real estate, and we do have a YouTube channel for Seattle Investors Club. There's some stuff on there. I mean, there's a lot. I don't know, maybe Joe, you can drop it in the chat box. But one of the things that I always say is, a good idea when you're getting started is to partner up with somebody more experienced than you are. So what are the first things you might want to think about as you're getting started in real estate investment is, what can you bring to the table? What can you trade with somebody to offer somebody who's more experienced than you, something that will incentivize them to want to work with you or take you under their wing or partner with you or whatever. That could be that you're a general contractor. That could be that you have a day job and you're a tech guy and you've got some funds saved and you can be an equity partner. That can be that you're a property manager who has insights in property management, and maybe you're just an employee of a property management company and like a owner operator like Enrique, and you have things you can trade. Maybe you're a real estate broker with a real estate license. What can you trade? What can you offer somebody who is to somebody that is more experienced than you? Sorry guys, shouldn't have the phone ringing, but if I tell you who that was, that'd be a pretty that's a whole nother interesting side conversation. I literally spent the entire weekend, missed the Pacific Northwest Big Badass Real Estate Expo because I was in Medina and Mercer Island touring $15 million, $12 million homes with a buyer that's in town. And that is a good story and interesting experience all by itself right there. But back to what we're talking about is, everybody should first assess, what can I bring to the table, right? What can I bring to the table to partner up with somebody and ride along, I think is a good way to do it when you're first getting started. You have to think about, like, you don't need to make all the money because, giving up some of the money that you would make if you tried to do it all on your own is just the same as paying for education, which is highly, all of us, even people that have been around, we're constantly educating ourselves and joining, venues like this to stay connected because we all learn from each other. So awesome stuff, Morgan. I know you're going to crush it. Who else? Anybody else? Is this anybody else's first time here? I'm looking down the list. Justin, I don't know. You might've been on before. Canberra, what's up?
Hey, how's it going? This is
Good.
my, I dialed in on one before, but I don't think you were on the call, but just looking to connect with other real estate investors, expand my knowledge and go to the next level here.
So Nee was the one introducing us. Is that right, Justin? You and me?
Yep.
Right? So we still need to do that. Sorry, I pretty much checked out for the summer, but back in action here now. Tell us about you, what you're up to.
Yeah. Be sure to, Justin, tell about your out-of-state portfolio and stuff, that you got going on.
Yeah, so I'm in Washington area. I do short-term rental, Airbnb, and then I do medium-term with traveling nurses. Out of state, I do in Milwaukee, mainly 2, 3, 4 units, 1, 6 units, and then in Detroit area, same thing, just duplexes.
And how did you pick those markets? Are you part of the Jennifer Beatles gang, or are you had done that on your own, or how did you decide?
No, it was, I'm very familiar with Jennifer. I actually dialed into her call last night. It was just serendipitous. I was, running out of options in Washington. Worked with Enrique. He managed the 11 unit for me for about a hot minute over there in Yakima. And nothing was, in my mind, penciling. At the same time, I was going to a golf trip in Madison. I was listening to Bigger Pockets, and a guy was talking about Milwaukee. So instead of flying into Chicago and driving to Madison, I flew into Milwaukee, and that was in
The rest is history.
2017, and then and now I've got 16 there in Milwaukee area.
Well, let's talk about the subject matter of buy and holds, and the fact that most of us here are in the Seattle area or in Washington, where it's expensive and hard to pencil. Why don't you tell us your experience of, I'm sure you would have preferred, or when you got started, you would like to have been able to purchase something, closer to home, and essentially we're in some ways forced, in order to make the numbers work, to look outside of our market. Is that right, Justin?
Exactly. So Morgan, I work at Amazon as well. And so it was just, there was an inflection point in my life where I was hating working at Amazon. My dad just passed from cancer. I need a fast way to replace my income. So I've been super motivated to make this happen. And so I'm 100% focused on cash flow. And
see here, Morgan, you and Justin should hook up offline, right? Just as if you are willing to do that, Justin, for Morgan, and you guys have the same little background there, and nice connection for you guys today to talk shop.
Hey, Justin, can you quickly, what were some of the numbers on the essentially a slow flip? So the 11 unit that you purchased, here I managed for you. You bought it. Then we got it fully occupied, rents up, and then you sold it. So, obviously you could make more in cash flow in the Midwest, and so you end up taking out and investing in the Midwest. But it did become essentially like a flip for you, right?
Yeah, so I think it was listed, I'm going off memory, I think it was like 320, under contract at 300, closed at 285, rents are around 4,400. You whipped it into shape, I think we're at like 5,500. And then we listed it at, I think we listed it at 400, and it ultimately net sold at 365, I believe.
Was your intention when you bought it to flip it, or did you say, you know what, there's some better opportunities here in these other markets, so I'm going to sell this one to fund my capital for these others in different markets with bigger cash flow?
Well, I was expanding into Milwaukee, and I'm like, Jesus, the cash on cash is north of 20% here. Why don't I sell this one in Washington, take the same money and redeploy it, get better cash flow? So 14 months I owned that property. I think I made net 85. Plus I had my original 20% down. So I traded a 11 unit for 5 duplexes and the triplex. And
fantastic.
The rent basically doubled. It was about 9,000 in gross rents. when I parlayed that into Milwaukee.
And did you have to renovate? Did you buy, how heavy was the improvements and work that you had to do in the Milwaukee area on those units?
For the most part, because I was using US Bank for financing, they like to have leases in hand. So majority of those were already, you know, they're on market, I'm calling them turnkey, but they're already tenanted. As the tenants turn over, then it's, $2 to $5K per unit for a turn, depending if it'd been turned in the last 10 years, then it's, only a couple thousand. But
How much upside in rent when you turn one of those? How much upside in rent? Your current rents or whatever, and then you put your 2 to 5 into it or whatever. And what's your new rent?
Depends on how I bought it. Some are already maximized. So, on the low end, on the duplexes, 2-bed, 1-bath, it'd be like $600 to $650. When I acquired it, fix it up, you might be at $700, $750. The thing is like you can put a ton of money into it. No one's going to pay more rent.
Right.
There's a fine balance of, and Troy shaking, nodding his head. Probably the same thing there in Detroit, where you want to be the best you can be in order to be the first one they say yes to. So you want to put that much effort into it, but not much more. Otherwise, you're just, you're not getting that return.
Awesome stuff. Does anybody have any questions for Justin or Enrique? Or we got Troy Fisher on the line here that owns a mobile home park in Detroit. How's it going, Troy?
Good. Justin, are you still buying?
Still buying? Yes. I just sold a property, so I'm on the clock for a 1031, and so trying to get. This one was in Milwaukee. I bought it for 63. I just sold it for 99. I got 42K to pump into. I'll probably buy 2 duplexes with that, or maybe a 4-plex.
Okay, text me. I got a wholesaler out there. She's got a 12-plex. I think she said 450. So I'll share her contact information with you.
Sure.
Yeah.
Let me ask you guys. So what's the biggest challenge? I think, what we're seeing here, we have 2 topics here. What are the challenges in getting started in other markets that have better cash flows, maybe less appreciation, but better cash flows? And then versus how would anybody, let me just start by saying, how would anybody actually do a buy and hold here in the Seattle area or Washington area? What is a way that's actually going to pencil? Do you have to buy like a complete gut job, or you have to be able to add a mother-in-law in the basement and charge upstairs and downstairs rent, which is, and comes down to what the rules are with, ADUs in the Seattle area versus elsewhere. Who here is anybody pursuing buy and holds in the Seattle, Tacoma, or anywhere area? Troy, go ahead.
So we just rented out a mobile home in a park. We don't own the park, but we own the mobile home. Bought it for $60. We're renting it for $675 a month.
Nice.
So
mobile homes, right?
Yeah.
Again, it's the same. You don't have to over improve those. You're just making them rentable, right? So how do you calculate a good deal, Troy? Use the 1% rule. You're getting $675 and you paid $60.
No, it's got to have. So I only look at things that have got 20% ROI. I get excited about 25, and I'll buy it if it's at 35.
And how are you calculating your ROI? Give it a little detail beyond that for people, right? Or these are you paying cash, or you're counting some principal pay downs, or what?
No. Just whatever cash I put into it, whatever comes out after mortgage payments, debt payments.
So a cash on cash return?
Yeah, cash on cash, ROI. Yeah, I don't, depreciation and appreciation, those are all extra numbers, bonus numbers.
Gotcha. So where is that even possible in Washington? We're saying it's possible with maybe mobile homes. What else? You guys are we got Enrique on here, and we got, you know, you, and we've got Justin, we've got probably other people on here. Does anybody else here?
Roy, you can get
Roy?
those numbers from Roy, Graham.
Looking in Roy and in Graham, those markets that, looking for what though? Looking for, now we're sharing here today. I'm just going to give it to you guys straight. We don't hold back from information from each other at Seattle Investors Club, because the reality is that most of you ain't going to do anything. I hate to say it to you that way, or it'll take you forever. So what I encourage you is that the people that are experienced, we appreciate you sharing, because I think you have been around long enough to know that you're not going to shoot yourself in the foot that it's actually the reverse. Somebody will bring you a deal if, you know, because they have something in Graham and they don't know what they're doing yet. We're here to educate you. So this is a free forum of speech. We don't hold back here. We don't hold our cards, so to speak. There's enough to go around. So how does somebody do a deal in Washington? We're talking about a mobile home deal, right? And you know, everybody's individual level of what they'll accept on their return on their investment, their cash on cash, is different. So that's another topic that for another day. But who's doing deals here that are not flips, and how are you actually even getting them done? Or who do you know, Enrique, you guys are watching others do it. Airbnb, what? Lay it to us.
I had someone, I just did an inspection for someone who bought a single family in West Seattle that was 1%.
And how are they getting that? Was it just a complete gut job?
No. Oh God, it was move-in ready. Adrian Chu found it for him. MLS, it was listed.
Okay, and so how are they getting, I mean, what prices in West Seattle? Is it a small place? What's the purchase price on something like that?
Yeah, it was 950 square feet. I think the purchase price was like six something.
Yeah.
And he's going to rent by rooms, and then development on the back end.
Okay, right. So we're talking about boarding house style rentals, rent by the room. Basically what I'm trying to point out is that the level to get the high rent has to be forced somehow in the Seattle area. And that is accomplished by boarding house style or ADUs, right? Or, you know, maybe some Airbnb, which those laws and things can change, or those rules can change at any time. Hard to 100% rely on that because you don't have control over it. But what are the ways that are we admitting to the group here in the Washington area that you have to force the rent somehow beyond traditional single family rentals with one tenant, unless it's a mobile home like you just bought, Troy, or some complete deal that you've stolen from somebody? What would everybody, Justin or Enrique or anybody, Samant, you want to pipe in on this? Or Renee, how about you guys out in Kitsap?
We've got 2 rentals in Bremerton, and we find that a very successful area because of the Naval Yard, and we can get fairly inexpensive housing, and there's always demand there. So we're really focused there in terms of burrs and flips.
And what are you paying out there, and what kind of rent are you getting out there?
We're getting like $1,500 to $1,800 a month, which is decent.
And you have to pay what to purchase the property all in?
You know,
I know that's your partners.
We're finding 1 to 3 bedrooms from anywhere from like 100 to 250 and renovating them, and then either flipping them or burring them.
Okay. Excellent. Anybody else?
Yeah, I'm managing for an owner named Mark Canton. Sometimes he shows up to various events.
We love Mark.
Yeah. So he's doing really well. What he's been doing is purchasing properties either with an ADU where he's able to create an ADU. So with the ADU, we're then going in and putting a fence between the two. So he's got ADU on a corner lot, put a fence between the 2 properties, and then one is facing forward, one's facing the side street. And we're essentially making 2 single family homes out of it.
Are you talking
And
about a
it'll rent-
detached dwelling unit, not attached?
Yeah, it's
Detached.
detached.
Right.
Detached. Yeah. So it's in Seattle. So in Seattle, going through this right now for him. He's got 3 different properties that we're managing for him. And so he's looking for that. He's looking for the detached units. The other thing I would,
Let me ask you a
and-
question, Enrique. So when he's doing that, is he looking for like a detached garage to convert, or how is he, or is he building, you know, I mean, it's expensive to build a dadu, so he must be, how's he finding the detached, because he's not probably going ground up.
right. So this particular one his most recent purchase was where the previous person had kind of started, and so what he did is he finished the job. So kind of started converting the I think it was added onto the garage, because there's still a garage. It's added onto the previous owner, added onto the garage, but not great. And the fence was, the yards were not separated. And so he's essentially finished the job. My guess is, well, and it was somebody who was essentially trying to flip, because they did kind of a,
Like a failed flip.
yeah, it was almost a fail, or just a, you know, a barely touched it type of a flip, where they went in and painted and did some stuff.
I think the point I'm trying to make is in the Seattle area, potentially, that you either are going to buy something very inexpensive like a mobile home or something, or you have to force, or maybe it works out in Kitsap a little bit better where you can do more of a traditional burr, or else you are having to force the rents, you know, the achievable rents by either renting by the room, or an ADU, which is more like a mother-in-law, or some other type of, you know, way to get
unfinished basement.
adding additional square footage,
Mhm.
you know, and or doing, you know, adult family homes or something that charge a premium. You know, the whole traditional burr is, you have to understand beyond it in our local market, unless you're Troy and buying like the mobile homes, in order to get those deals done. And that's why we have such a strong presence of local investors who invest out of state, because the numbers, you can be more traditional about how you go about your business, right? Justin, you want to add on that?
Yeah, in Seattle, it's I'm doing something super nichey. I have tiny homes that I Airbnb, and
Yes.
they've been killing it. So like the last 2 months, I have 2 of them where I pay a lot rent at a mobile home park, and I'm getting 2,500 rent per tiny home.
Wow.
So I'm buying a 4th tiny home.
And those are running what, like 50 grand?
I bought these 3 off a guy on Craigslist last Christmas, 150 for 3 of them.
Wait, hold on. Where are you putting these tiny homes? That's incredible, Justin.
They're in the mobile home park right now. Bowman Hilton in Puyallup, if you're familiar with that.
Are you hanging with Todd McKellips?
Yes, sir. He's managing them as well.
Yes. All right.
But he just bought the property, and so I'm moving all of them to his property
Right.
next month.
Like, is he going to have like a Airbnb mobile home, tiny home community?
Yeah, he bought some land that was an existing farm, so like he's
Good
gonna
for
lease
him.
out the farm space and then have tiny homes there.
And what about zoning when it comes to that kind of thing?
We haven't had any issues because it's in a mobile home park, but we're not asking anybody.
Right.
So we're just doing it.
And the beautiful part is it's mobile. So if somebody gives you some shit, you just move it.
Right.
Right. How does the septic, or how does that work with the tiny homes? I'm just curious.
Well, these ones they're plumbed, so it's like a mobile home, right? So you just hook it up to the septic tank and then hook water and power up to it.
Right.
Some are gas powered, so we have propane tanks.
How does that work though on his other property that he bought that probably doesn't have, it's not a mobile home park, right? Or it's not the place you're moving to? How does that work with septic? I don't understand.
He's got septic there.
Okay. Now, let's just say you're not asking, right? Because septic has X amount of bedrooms for approved septic, or, you know what I mean? We're getting technical here. We don't need to talk about all that. So the reality is the point I'm trying to make is that you have to be creative in the Seattle, Western Washington area in order for a buy and hold to work. Maybe in Kitsap it's working better, like with Renee is talking about. But there's all kinds of, Katrina, do you feel like sharing about what you're doing at all?
Oh yeah, and I've got Deanne here, Deanne McDonald. She's joining. We're actually joining forces, so we're
Nice.
developing together.
Great.
Which is
Hi,
yep.
Deanne.
And so like what we're doing in Seattle.
Yeah.
So yeah, and actually Deanne pretty much is responsible for sourcing those. You want to tell a little bit about Ballard and Morgan Street?
Well, we're still trying to figure out what exactly we're
yeah, so we bought two existing parcels. One's in South Seattle and one's in Ballard, and existing homes, and then what we're doing with them. So we're, instead of subdividing, we're condominiumizing them.
Yeah.
Right.
And so we got the existing, and we're able to get 3 condo units, which is, essentially lots on the South Seattle, and in Ballard, we're able to get 2 additional lots as well. So with Dadu, I think we have if you were to put a Dadu's back there, then it's 1,000 square foot threshold is the most that we'd be able to do, but we'll put 2 1,200 square foot. So you can put single family residences there when you're doing the condo. And it's the process is, as soon as you have your survey, the process is as quick as 6 to 8 weeks and could take up to 3 months. But that's a fraction of the time that it takes to actually subdivide and have, 3. These are called unit lots as opposed to regular lots.
Has anybody over there in the Crown Hill area, Katrina, already, I know that's a prevalent, not the way you're doing it, but it's a prevalent business model where you might keep the front home and they're actually subdividing. They're all going over and subdividing. You found a niche, right? So they're subdividing over there, which takes much longer. Has there been a completed project over there, do you know, where they sold the front house actually? Maybe the ones in the back haven't been built yet, but has anybody sold the front house in this new model since Crown Hill?
So not that I know of, because the architect and our planner and designer have all, it was kind of like a lot of conversations to figure out how can we do this.
Right.
So what we found is that, so what's happened is somebody tried it. Our condo attorney said he had a client who tried it actually a few years ago in a different circumstance. And so he sold the existing house, did the condominiumization so he could sell that. And then when he went to go apply for permits, the city wouldn't take it. They had to dissolve the condo, and that's all kinds of negotiation. So they had to dissolve the condo, do the permit application, get permits, and then recreate that condo, the condo association. And in this case, what we're able to do, and I mean, this is what we think we're able to do, and what we've gotten confirmation from the city, as long as we have that site plan, the development plan in advance, and we've applied for those permits, we can then they have something to. So what happens is the reason you're able to build the way that we are is because it's the full parcel. So as long as we create that plan, apply for the permits while it's still the full parcel, then what we do after we've made that application should be okay. And we wouldn't have to go back and dissolve that.
As you can see, you guys, the point of this whole thing is to tell you that investing in Washington in this area, unless you're just going to straight up flip, is complicated and requires extra, expertise and creativity, right? Now, all these things are doable. That's why we're here talking about it. right? But for those of you getting started, I'm circling back to my point is it's great to go get a real estate, do this, get a real estate license, and then go, you know, hang your license with somebody like Katrina has a brokerage, right? Firm, her own
Or
brokerage.
Julie.
Or me, right? Or, you know, somebody that's in the game and can teach you all these things, and you can watch it happen or be connected to a circle of people and a network. We're talking here today from 11:30 to 12:30, right? In order to do these things, you need to be plugged in deeper. You know, you can self-educate, guaranteed. We have some fabulous. We just had the virtual Big Badass Real Estate Expo. Look at that, right? You have WARE, you have Seattle Investors Club, you have Jennifer Beadle's Addicted to ROI, all these places to educate yourself. But there's nothing like personal connections. And that's why I show up here every week, because it's different, right? We can see each other. We can talk to each other face to face a little bit here, and it's nice. So
Hey, I want to say for the expo, if you missed the expo that was this last weekend, you can still, I believe, purchase tickets for the recording. Of course, if you had tickets for the expo, you can watch all the recordings, but you can still even now reach out to Tarl, certainly, Tarl Yarber. But I believe even on the website, you can go in and purchase the recordings. So Robert Kiyosaki was there, Ken McElroy, some just huge, incredible speakers. And so I definitely think it's worthwhile.
what was your favorite panel, Enrique, of the event?
I was on a buy and hold panel. I then spoke by myself. Mine recording, they're redoing it, but I was on a buy and hold panel with somebody from Texas and Southern California, and it was really wonderful. Also listening to them, how they're doing their buy and holds as well.
And what are they? Are they having to get creative like we are here in Washington, or are they doing out-of-state investing where it's more traditional?
They are, well, one is doing syndications. So she's kind of moved up the ladder. Now she's gotten in.
Kathy Fetke, or?
This is Kathy Fetke. Yep.
Yeah.
So she's doing syndications. Then Steve Rosenberg out of Texas is much like myself. He's focused in on Texas. So he's mostly buying single family homes in Houston, Texas. And then, so it's interesting to hear, some people like multifamily like myself, some people like single family because they can, get rid of them faster than you can turn over a multifamily. It takes a little longer to sell a multifamily than to sell a single family. So he liked that. So there's, there's every single topic possible at the expo. So
let me ask you guys a question on this topic today. When you're getting started, you have choices, right? You can flip, you don't have to flip and learn all that before you go straight to the buy holds, right? What I find is people that flip for a couple years, or they do it continuously as the long-term part of their business, just to for capital raise or something like that. But everybody, I can't think of one person, actually I can actually, and that's Jared Holland. He actually finally started the buy and hold stuff, right? Where people, they flip because that's how all the marketing of the gurus tells you to get started, wholesaling or flipping. But everybody ends up wanting to go towards buy and hold because they realize that if you just flip full time, that's like just a full-time job, taxed at the highest level you can possibly tax at. Everybody moves towards buy and hold at some point down the road once they realize they want to keep some more of their money and grow their wealth. And what do you say about people? Do you think getting started with a single family rental versus, a 1 to 4 unit, it's different, a little bit different information, but can people go straight to the duplexes, triplexes, fourplexes, or larger when they're getting started? What do you recommend? Because, multifamily is definitely where it's at for long-term wealth generation and cash flow, or commercial. But what do you say? Yeah,
I mean, personally, I like multifamily. So, and that's just because I'm all in, and I'm all in for, guaranteed for the future. I, have no concerns that I'm going to get bored or tired of it or decide to, jump out. But if you're unsure in the beginning, certainly the exit strategy is a lot easier with single family home because you can sell it to a a home buyer. The rates, the conventional conforming loan rates are much better on a 1 to 4 unit. 5+ is no longer a conventional loan, so requires commercial financing, which typically runs 1 point higher. But I've found the economies of scale are much better. Then there are, of course, partnering with somebody else who's doing multifamily, or Airbnb has plenty of exit strategies too, because you can, of course, convert it to long-term rental, or you can just simply sell it to a homeowner.
How is the Airbnb biz these days? Who's doing Airbnb? I know, Justin, I think you are. Katrina, you guys are. How's the Airbnb? Are you back in action? No COVID issues or anything?
There's still a lot of people who would, I hear people talking, they say, oh, we don't want to do that. We don't want to stand in Airbnb, but the amount of people who are willing, depending on the property, we haven't seen a huge, with the exception of March, April, May, we haven't seen a huge downturn. They're still doing really well.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I basically went to 0 overnight for March and April.
Yeah, same.
And then all of a sudden it was like, boom. And then it's been awesome. The last like 3 months, we've been killing it. We got a lot of like transplant people too. So like on my tiny homes, like I just got a booking for a month. Somebody that is looking to move into the area. So I'm noticing quite a bit of longer stays for these as well.
Justin, do you think, it seems like there's less competition out there right now. A lot of people took their properties off. Right. It seems like there's less to choose from.
Right. Definitely. Yeah, I know when I was Labor Day weekend trying to get one, and I was searching for the water, and we were going to go all the way to Portland, and then we had it booked, and then they canceled on us like the day of. So it's like, it's very competitive. If you've got a niche Airbnb product, you're probably killing it right now.
I'm looking at the chat here, guys. Does anybody have a question? Does anybody need help with anything? Just speak up. Go ahead, Katrina.
Yeah, we're looking for a loan product for single family residential or 1 to 4 units. Is there anybody who's got any stated loan products for long-term hold?
Anybody on here, a lender that wants to speak up?
What was the question for the long-term holds?
Yeah, we're looking for, is there any products stated loans for 1 to 4 units, just as a long-term rental hold?
At certain, we'll do asset-based, basically 30-year fixed loans that are underwritten primarily for cash flow. And we specialize primarily in the 1 to 4 unit space. And
What kind of rates? I guess I should ask Nee.
Rates as of a week ago about a week ago, they were in the 6s. But we just got a new rate sheet, like literally last night. So those rates will probably go down going next week.
So Israel and Katrina, can you do a little bit more explanation of what you're asking for, Katrina? Can you, so that the group can understand what you're actually asking for?
Yeah. So we have a property that we're considering holding as opposed to flipping, and holding is a rental. And so what we're looking for is to take out a loan to hold it as a long-term, rather than the standard private money rates, that we can hold this long-term, but where we don't have to do full documentation. So stated, means you're just, you're not having to provide that same documentation that you would for a conforming loan.
Yeah. So for conventional loans, they'll typically underwrite based on debt to income, and they'll want to see W-2s, tax returns, all that stuff. We just want to see that the asset itself cash flows about 25% above its debt service. So basically the NOI has to be 25% above the monthly debt service, and it's commonly referred to as a 1.25 debt service DSCR. And we'll want to see that the property, as I said, cash flows, and that you have the liquidity to take down the project if it's a purchase, or if you have the liquidity to have a decent amount of reserves, anywhere between 6 to 12 months. That being said, the one issue that I do see on the West Coast is that we have high values, and sometimes the price to rent ratios are a lot higher. So these loans sometimes don't work the best just because the cash flow is just not there sometimes.
Right.
Check out Corvest. They might work for you. They're based out of LA.
Thank you.
Similar to what Israel was talking about. I just got a quote last week from him.
Anybody else have anything?
I got a question. Who do you guys use for skip tracing? And has anybody had any experience with PPL people?
I use Vulcan 7. And Renee, because you're on my team, I will let you use my account for free.
Done deal.
There's also Fast People Search. I really like it if I'm just skip tracing like one account. And then I've heard great things about Exact Skip too.
You know, some people use, there's all kinds. I felt like what I like about Vulcan 7, which is more, I'm a real estate broker. I'm an investor. I'm a traditional real estate broker. Pretty much anything goes in real estate. And I am a rule follower. One thing you guys are going to learn about me is I follow the rules. Now that doesn't mean I'm talking about I don't mind sticking my toes over the line when it comes to real estate investing. And sometimes that's required, as you will find as you explore specifically even the BRRRR buy and hold local topic further, is that you might need to stick your toes on the line a little bit. But what I like about Vulcan 7 is that they do let you know who's on the do not call registry. And because I'm a rule follower, that's important to me. That doesn't mean I can't find a way to reach them in a different way, but I want to know. So again, Renee, you don't have to worry about it. Literally just send me your list and I will get that for you.
Thank you, Julie.
I have a question.
Hi, Jack.
Hey.
Introduce yourself.
So my name is Jack Burns. I have a company called Offer AI and Big Equity. Offer AI is the presentation to sellers, and Big Equity is the presentation to buyers. And we're facilitating off-market transactions nationally. So we're applying some technology here. I'm an entrepreneur, and we're swinging for the fence on this side rather than doing singles at buy and holds or investments or flips. We're wholesaling, and that's actually wholesaling to the retail buyer. And so I've got a consortium of providers across the country to do this in any city in the United States. And we right now have 3 deals under contract in Jacksonville, Florida, from Seattle. So I tested it in Jacksonville because it's a test market city. And if you can make something work there, you can make it work anywhere. So we've got deals under contract. I'm processing them. We're right now just about to put them out to the to pocket listings and possibly on the MLS if we don't get a pocket listing offer. So it's pretty cool.
Are you saying, Jack, that you have a platform, a technology platform that lets either side of the transaction plug in?
Yep. So here's how it works. Let's say you're a seller considering selling. You take out the app, the Offer AI app, and you snap a few pictures of the house from the app, and it identifies the items in the house that needs fixing and the cost associated with those renovations. And let's say the cost to cure is more than you can afford, so you click request an offer. You quickly get that offer from us, and then we will process, and it's actually, the offer is going to be as much as you would net on the MLS. If you were to sell it on the MLS, it's that exact same amount. So then we curate that deal, and that, by the way, that was based on the fair market value. And we curate the deal and present it to buyers, complete with an inspection report, an appraisal, itemized fix-up costs, what the house will look like with the renovations.
Retail buyers.
Yes, the retail buyers and how much it will be worth once they're complete, and it's all in a virtual tour of that home. And we tested this, and it's going to work. So I'm shooting a video. We're going to be doing a WeFunder campaign, and I'm shooting a couple of videos. We got the first one shot. Now we're doing a second one. It's going to be actors and stuff like that. And I'm looking for a location. I'm here in Seattle area, Renton. And I'm looking for a location. And if you guys have any house that would fit this, I would love to talk with you about shooting it at that house. We need something that is kind of a before look. It doesn't need to be completely dilapidated. It just needs to need renovations.
Any of you wholesalers that just picked up a property before you're getting started?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Anybody that's got something like that.
I'm gonna let Jack, I'm gonna invite you back for following weeks. We're running out of time today, so we're gonna keep moving on. If anybody, Jack, why don't you drop your contact information in the chat box? So if anybody has something that matches that they want to learn more about what Jack's up to and has a house that might fit his needs, there's a good exchange swap right there. I've known Jack for quite a while, and one of my 2-hour-long conversation type talking buddies, right, Jack? And anything else today anybody has, because we're running short on time.
I do. Does anyone know Don Jack?
Don Jack?
Enrique, Katrina.
What's
No.
Don Jack?
Julie. Don Jack. Okay.
What does he do?
He's a pretty big time investor, and I got his contact information. I was just looking for a personal introduction.
That doesn't mean I don't know somebody that doesn't know Don Jack. Is he local?
Yeah, we were talking about trading properties. So he's in Seattle.
I don't know Don Jack. Have you searched? Is he on Wari?
No.
Okay.
He's like a ghost.
Ooh, those are my favorite kind.
I know. It sounds like, yeah, I want to.
Yeah, we need to know Don Jack.
I came to the group to figure out if anyone knew him.
What? It's a challenge. Katrina, it's a challenge to figure out who Don Jack is.
So it's DONJACK?
Yep. And he couldn't have like an easy name to look up, right?
Right. What is he, what kind of investing does he do?
You know, I met him on a trader's Zoom call last week. So, and he's the only local trader around here. And we talked about on the Zoom call.
What's a trader mean?
Trading properties.
Trading properties, like horse trading.
Yeah.
Did you actually see him? Did he have his video on?
Yeah, he's an old guy. He's old and rich.
Is there a secret underground society of a trading club?
Yep.
Oh. Okay, it looks like we need to talk. I don't know what that is. Interesting. Of course you do, because you're Troy. That's what I like. All right, guys. Does anybody have anything they need help with? I know we're running late on time here. You're welcome to reach out to me. Now, you know, I have a life and busy schedule as well. Like I said, full-time real estate broker, mother of 2, all kinds of stuff going on. Have a bunch of brokers that I coach. And so it is possible that you need to hit me up more than once when you have an issue that you need help with. So you can reach me on my cell phone with a text. That'd be 206-910-2985. Okay. If you need anything, hit me up or direct message me on Facebook. Julie Clark, eXp Realty, Seattle Investors Club. All right, guys, that's it for today. Unless anybody, last chance. Let me check the chat. Let me just check the chat. Skip tracing. We answered that. You guys are all talking to each other. That's great. Blah, blah, blah. This is recorded, just so you know. Let's see, corporate housing, good one, Israel. We didn't talk about that. Renee says the big badass virtual real estate expo is well worth it to go buy the ticket to listen to the recording. And the credit score. Skip tracing, Deborah, is when you have somebody's address and you want to try and get their phone number or their contact information. Oh, so that's when Renee answered that. All right, I'm late to the party, guys. You guys are all good talking to each other. Awesome, good stuff. All right, I'm going to sign off until next week. We'll be here again and every week. Hopefully now that we are kicking off into fall and everybody is kind of back and focused on working rather than hiking and all the other fun stuff and camping. We'll see and have a larger group continue to grow and grow each week. All right. See you guys.
Thanks, Julie.
Good talking to you. Good to see you guys. Over and out. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Jewel.